good thing. So my name is Willy Simons or Simons. The company that I work for is called Spatiality. Spatiality is, I think it's an Esri business partner located in Kenya. So that means we have access to Esri technology. And of course, our focus is slightly different from Esri because we shouldn't be doing the same thing. So it is actually, you know, trying to add value to what Esri Eastern Africa does. And I think that is by focusing on the application of GIS. I think when we talk about GIS, I think traditionally it meant Geographic Information Systems or system. And of course, we can argue about each one of these terms, each one of these words. I think that the term came about, you know, a long time ago, and I think it just stuck. And now we have to live with it. And of course, even when you listen to Clifford, he still talks about systems, you know, system of record, system of engagement, system of insights. So the systems have increased. But I suggest that, you know, we get out of this system thinking and we just call it stuff. Because stuff, I think that's what people do, and stuff, that is what people buy. And I think, you know, this might go some extent in popularizing GIS to a wider community, because I think that is really what is needed. When we look at how GIS is implemented, we can look at it in different ways, from different perspectives. And I think traditionally, you know, you can think of GIS as being a factory. It ingests data and outcomes information. And of course, Esri has wonderful products. They have a product called Arcgis Server. But I think many of us as GIS professionals, we increasingly use GIS as a toolbox. And of course, we used to have a product called ArcMap, but now we have a wonderful product called ArcGIS Pro that many of you might be using. You can also think of GIS as a marketplace, you know, where people put stuff and find stuff. And I think we have a solution for that. It's called Arcgis Online. So Arcgis Online, for me, is a perfect way of sharing geoinformation products within your organization, but also with other stakeholders. I think what we're going to talk about today is more about, you know, the GIS as a service. And I think I'm happy that Laureen mentioned it. She stressed the importance of applications or different apps and the different technologies that you can use to build those apps. Because in my thinking, it is the applications that drive the uptake of GIS within organizations, business applications that add value. And you know, and I think that is maybe the challenge that we are facing, I think, is how do you bridge the gap between the business and the technology? And I think some countries seem to be doing better on this than others, but I think that is a challenge that I think we find in Kenya, because business managers and decision makers, they don't necessarily, you know, have a good understanding of technology, and particularly geospatial technology. On the other hand, some of us, we operate in the technology domain. We might not have enough understanding of business goals, business priorities, business challenges. Then the question, I think, is how do you bridge that gap? You know, who's going to move closer to who? We can, of course, we can continue to complain about those business people who never seem to get what GIS is all about. But I think we can also take it upon ourselves to develop applications that add business value. I think the uptake of GIS in a country could be related, you know, to the amount of relevant GIS applications that are being developed. And I think this is a challenge that I want to just give to every one of you. Build your apps, build your applications, and make sure they add business value. Next slides. Oops, those are a lot of slides. Fine, you could say that was a joke. I don't hear anybody laugh, but no, there's a serious point to this. When you look at this, you know, it's a lot of fun, isn't it? These are things that you want to buy. Because, I mean, why are we talking about GIS and not sliding out there? Where you look for images on GIS, yeah, you know, it is all these what is this, diagrams, maps, you know, this stuff, this doesn't sell. I think that's what the challenge is. When we talk about GIS, we always get into, you know, architectures and diagrams. And I'm not saying it's not important, but I think what is more important is really what a consumer perspective on GIS, or what does it do? How does it help? So fine, I think that is why we want to take the plunge. We want to slide down and get into a live demo. And of course, I haven't really practiced it, so let's see how it goes. I need to go. Hey, I hardly see anything. My screen is blocked. I'm wondering, how do I move this Zoom bar? Yeah, it's annoying. Oh, there we go. So the first thing I want to look at is Arcgis Online, not Twitter. So Arcgis Online, you know, it is a product I think everybody should take a look at least every organization. If we look at the tabs on the top, you find you have content. So you can organize your content in folders. What you put on Arcgis Online are feature layers. We have web maps, web applications. And these are shared, you know, different levels of sharing. You can share it with your organization. You can share it with the public. And you also have the ability to share information within groups. So this could be, you know, based on people working together, or it could be departments in an organization. You heard very briefly about notebooks. I'm not going to spend too much time on notebooks, but I think that for me is a key addition to Arcgis Online or to ArcGIS, because that allows you now to connect GIS with data science through Python programming. And maybe I can just quickly open up one of the notebooks, just to give you a quick idea of what you can do with those notebooks. And that is taking a few seconds. So this basically was a sample script that I adopted for Nairobi. And the objective of this was just to see how green is Nairobi as of a particular date. So the image that the good image that I could find was dated back to 2018. But you just see how you can add satellite imagery. You can do some image processing. So you can calculate any NDVI index. You can clip it to the extent of Nairobi. And then you can do some visualization. So you show the green areas in green. Makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? And then you can do some calculations. So for instance, here we didn't look too bad. Well, I think we still have some reasonable amount of forest, which of course could be verified through ground truthing. Going back to to applications, you have so many ways of developing applications in Arcgis Online or in ArcGIS. Laureen talked about Experience Builder, for instance. She talked about AppStudio. She talked about story maps. You can also use dashboards. I think is also a very popular way of building applications. Dashboards that, you know, show KPIs. I think very important to show that to key decision makers. The application that I used to build a web map, well, I think for this presentation, I use story maps. And I think I've already opened it. So story maps, I think, is migrated to a new platform. So we still have the classic story maps, you have the new story maps. And I think I'm just going to start you by showing you the end products, which we're going to show in a later demo on AppStudio. So here you find a very simple story map. It is what we call a map tour. It has a customized web map for Homa Bay County in Kenya. And we just have different attractions or sites that people might want to visit. Okay. You can click on an attraction, and then the map zooms to the location, and of course it gives you a description of it. And you see, once you keep scrolling to the panel on the left, the web display, the map display automatically updates, so it is dynamic. I think it's pretty nice how I find it very smooth the way it operates. And of course, you can also continue to interact with the map. And based on what you find on the map, it could update it updates the side panel. So maybe you can quickly look at how do you go about developing such an application. Anyway, it's very simple. Come here. You say new story. You have different options. In the quick start, you can start from scratch, or you can choose any of those. So in our case, we're just going to use this one, Explorer Map Tour. So you just fill in the title, places to visit, Homa Bay. Yeah, and then you can actually here click on the side panel and start adding your points. To add an image, you can browse to the directory on your computer. So maybe we do just one, Ruma National Park. Open it, add it, and then of course you give it a title and a meaningful description. So some of you might know that in the Ruma Park you can find the rowan antelope, which is a threatened species. And it's the only place in Kenya where you can find it. Now, the next thing you have to do is to add a location on the map. So we zoom in. And now the problem is, where is Ruma National Park? It's not easy to tell, is it? So I can just add it here for now. But what is, I think, more important is that you can actually change the map from a default map to one of your own web maps. Okay, so I think you just have to come here. Then you can browse your own maps. And then I can say Homa Bay web map. Yeah. So now we have customized the base map. Which makes it a lot easier because, as you see, it shows the national park. So just move it. That seems to be a bit hard. I should have practiced this anyway. Let's leave that for now. We try again, edit location. I have no idea. Sorry about that. So I think you get the gist of how you go about developing this web application. Now, the next application that I wanted to show you is AppStudio. I think I'm just going to take you through the different steps. Now, one of the challenges that I found is that this application would not work with the new story maps. So for that reason, I just had to recreate the story map using the classic story maps. And that is because in the classic story maps, it uses a feature service and or a feature layer, and that is what you really need for AppStudio. So this map has been recreated. Now, this is the application that I built in AppStudio. So maybe we just start by having a look at it before we show you how to build it. So you can see I've built a number of different maps, but we're just going to show you the, starting by the one for Homa Bay. So you can see it has, this is a mobile app that runs on your mobile phone, but I'm just going to show it to you on the desktop. So you click, this is the opening screen, you click Get Started. And then here you now see the different places. You can just, browse through it. I can also switch from the list to the map. And here, I can still browse through the different tourist attractions, and I think it just highlights the one on the map. So this really is a pretty simple application that you can build without any coding knowledge. So how do we build the app? Anyway, there are a few things that you could change and learn through this app. So to build this one, I think you just click on, you open up download to your desktop. Once you open it, you click on New App. And you find that you can build an app from scratch, but you can also use an existing template. And you can see we have a total of 7 different templates. And the one we're going to use for our application is the map tool. So you just click on Create. Now we can change the title of the application. Just going to call it Homa Bay. The next thing you have to you need to do is to go into the settings, and here you can click the thumbnail of the application. Maybe I'll just pick this one. I don't even know which thumbnail it is. On the top of the left, you can you have different choices. So we are now editing the details. We can go into resources. Again, here you can put a background image, or you can click on it. Let's look for the right one. Maybe I put this this nice picture in the background. Next, we can move on to the properties of the application. Now here, oh, I think here we are the background. Sorry. You can change the font if you want to. Properties, you can see there are different tabs here. We have start screen, we click on gallery. So gallery, what we need here is a URL. So a URL endpoint that can be used by AppStudio. And we just have to find it by clicking on our story map. So I'm opening the classic story map. I hope I'm opening it. Now, once it opens, you can see the URL of the map here in the bar. So what we need to copy into AppStudio is the ID, the app ID. So I've clicked on it. I go back to my settings. And I just have to copy it here. And then I think there are a few other things that can be added. Okay, so maybe I don't go into those details. And I think that is all that we want to do maybe right now. So I'm just going to click apply. Now, once we've clicked apply, we can test the application. So we go back to AppStudio. We now click on run. And you can see that's all that we need to do. We have the same application that we saw before. Although it only seems to have two locations anyway. Once you have tested your application, the next thing you can do is upload it to Arcgis Online. So I log in. To my Arcgis Online account. Sorry, before we do that, there's one thing that we shouldn't forget. We can go to the settings. Let's go back to the settings. Oops. Licensing, because we also need to ensure that our application is licensed. So there are two ways of doing it. I can register it, which generates an Arcgis client ID. This restricts the access of the application to people with an Arcgis Online accounts. But I can also set a light license so that anybody can use the application. So I just need to click here. It now generates the license. Click apply again to save. Now we go back here, and now we can upload it to Arcgis Online. Once it has been uploaded to Arcgis Online, anybody else, with access to to Arcgis Online can download it to their mobile phone, or alternatively, we can also share the QR codes with other people. And as you can see here, you can decide who you want to share your application with. So as you can see, this particular one has been shared with everyone. And I think that is probably all that I have for now. We can leave it at that. Barbara, back to you.